Hey everybody, it's Chuck Johnson, editor-in-chief of GotNews.com. I'm here, it's like midnight my time because it's like really fucking late. Hung out with the wife, watched some Survivor, love that show. Shows you the future, a reality-produced show where we're all fighting for survival. Not unlike the Hunger Games, although, kind of a bit more down market. I love the show, it's a great show. Anyways, so been kind of busy on work, been busy on research projects. You might ask, what does Chuck Johnson do for a living? Well, I run a research business. It's pretty successful. If you have any research projects, hit us up. It's been compared to doxing, digital doxing, but no, it's a bit more complicated, a bit more involved in that. Just hired some new people. If you want to do some research for us, email me, editor@gotnews.com. And obviously Pax Dickinson and I are setting up a researcher. So with that ad out of the way, sorry to be a dick about it, but nonetheless, here we are. I just wanted to tell you that I have watched the new TMZ video about 150 times, and it is fucking epic. It is so fucking epic. It is so epically epic that I just can't stop watching it. I've watched it now, probably 150 times. No, I mean, slight exaggeration there. Is there? No. No, I mean, it's like 3 minutes. I probably watched it. No, I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, I've watched it. It's over at Reddit. I'm going to throw that up in the comments section, or throw that up in the promo for this. By the way, I really love the Reddit guys. Like, I'm sorry your site is being taken over by social justice warrior pussies. But, there'll always be things like Got News. There'll always be things like Researcher. And I don't really care if I don't make that much money. I just think that the internet needs to have a place where people are free. And if they want to donate money to me, I'm hoping that hosting and such gets cheap enough and that I can maybe make a career out of it. But who knows? I mean, there needs to be at least one place on the internet where people are free to say what the truth is, who aren't worried about, and I might as well be the guy to run it. I mean, fuck it, why not, right? So anyways, I've been watching this video, and it's over. It's at r/the Donald. New video shows Michelle Fields defying Secret Service order to leave secure area, and I've watched it, and it's one of the things that's really funny about it is. Somebody pointed this out, which is Ben Terris, the guy who shakes Corey Lewandowski's hand. This user, Gossip Ninja. What a great name, Gossip Ninja. I've often been called a research ninja. I like it, Gossip Ninja. I'm not really quite sure what that means, but great name. And Gossip Ninja at 3:20, Corey Lewandowski, or Ben Terris shakes Corey Lewandowski's hand just seconds after Corey, quote, really just threw you on the ground, end quote. So this is Ben Terris. I mean, Ben Terris is claiming that, that there's this violent campaign within the Trump orbit. And Ben Terris, in my view, is really kind of the most disgusting person involved here. I mean, it's really just kind of crazy to see that he's gotten away with the bullshit here. And, he is, just so you guys know, Ben Terris is a friend of Jamie Lewandowski. He is a kind of social climber type. You're kind of typical beta male guy. He's done some good stuff. I mean, he busted Aaron Schock, basically stealing taxpayer money to create this whole Downton Abbey look over in in Congress. He's done some good blogging head videos. He's an interesting guy. I mean, he's got a sharp eye, but he's clearly a young man in a hurry who's trying to rise. And here he was writing a story, and it's Ben Terris, Trump's for him. Hold on, let me see. I want to make sure I'm saying this right. Oh, inside Trump's inner circle, his staffers are willing to fight for him. Literally. Basically, the long story. He was looking to get his story, and the video that's just been released is who goes and apparently he watches this horrific assault, this assault that it's like, that required police, a police situation and everything. And what does he do right after he looks at an assault where he literally almost threw somebody to the ground? What does he do? He goes and being the social climbing reporter, he goes and shakes Corey Lewandowski's hand. I don't know about you, but if I had just witnessed somebody savagely assault a woman, so much so that I wanted to just, go in that direction. I don't know about you, but if I had witnessed that, I probably would not. I would not be freaking out in that manner. I mean, I would be freaking out. I'd be like, "Yo, you just beat the shit out of this bitch." Like, bro, like, no. But instead, Ben Terris doesn't say that. Ben Terris he just didn't do that. And I just find that really interesting. Could it be that Ben Terris was trying to torture the evidence? I sent an email to Liz Mayer, Ben Terris, Liz Seymour, not Liz Mayer. Liz Mayer is the person doing the anti-Trump stuff. Nice lady, by the way, even though she's paid by the Azerbaijan dictatorship, which I put up a post on Got News about that. So I sent this, hey Ben and Liz, after witnessing a supposed assault of Michelle Fields, why did you go and shake Corey Lewandowski's hand? I'll wait for an answer. Do you need me to include the video clip? Okay, I'll include the video clip, link the video clip. It's over at Got News. It's in the Got News YouTube. Seems pretty dishonest, no? That's what I said. And I didn't even point out, like, this is a guy who claimed on the audio that he almost literally threw you to the ground. And it's a guy who's, Jamie Weinstein, Michelle Fields' boyfriend, has been running around claiming this for quite some time. And it's pretty dishonest. It's pretty fucked up. I don't know why Tucker Carlson's allowing his employee to do that, but there you have it. This is sort of where we are. This is the media landscape in 2015, on tax day no less, 2015. And here we are dealing with the bullshit, man. We're dealing with the bullshit. And so I just thought that was kind of interesting, kind of revealing in a way. And I think it's also interesting that you're starting to see reporters change their tune when it comes to Michelle Fields. David Martosco has been vindicated in virtually everything he reported at the Daily Mail. In spirit of full disclosure, David and I worked together at the Daily Caller back when I was a contributor there, and David was an editor there with a career change. And David's a very kind of professional, interesting guy. I think he was like a former music guy in his past. Like he was a concert opera dude. I don't know. I'm not very musical, kind of deaf in my left ear. But anywho, it's kind of an interesting situation. And David had claimed that Michelle Fields was more or less bullshitting. And he's right. I mean, she was bullshitting. And the video that was released by TMZ of all places shows Michelle Fields being told by Secret Service to back the fuck up. She doesn't do it. She comes back, and then she gets in this position. David of the story. I mean, it was a pretty nutty situation that went down. But the Clinton Democrat supporting district attorney didn't want to press charges, and now of course Michelle Fields is running around saying like, oh, she's gonna sue in a libel suit. She's gonna sue. Like, honey, please. Like, you're crazy. One of the witnesses that David got, witness to cops. This is what it says. This is what and there's all this paperwork and everything that's gone up there. A guy named Brian Enton. I'm not sure where Enton's from, but a guy named Brian Enton got the paperwork explaining why real Donald Trump will not be charged, or why campaign manager Corey Lewandowski won't be charged. And it's just kind of crazy, man. Like, we're in this situation now where Michelle Fields has just been allowed to just like run around claiming crazy shit. And one of the witnesses who was at the event compared the so-called battery incident to a fraudulent slip and fall. And that's a witness statement that went to the police. I mean, he went and actually was involved in this situation. So again, Michelle Fields' career seems over. And you're noticing there are a lot more reporters who are starting to call bullshit on Michelle Fields' thing now that it's been revealed to be quite discredited. Now, one of my co-founders, one of my guys who helps me with a lot of stuff, this guy Peter. Peter was pointing out that it's a bit like the rules have changed in Survivor, where everyone's suddenly starting to raise some questions about what's, basically there's a giant twist. And so 16 female reporters, female activists, conservatives, whatever, freaked out about the whole Corey Lewandowski situation. And by the way, I saw an early copy of that letter. I'll see if I can get a copy of it. There are like 3 different spellings of Lewandowski. I mean, it's pretty embarrassing. They sent it around to about 200 people, only 16 signed. So those 16, they kind of owe, they owe an explanation for their signatures still. And Michelle Fields can go and sue, Corey, she can go in. I mean, they're saying that he defamed her. Why? Because he linked to my article. I mean, it's kind of just craziness. This is where we are, though. This is where the craziness is going. And it's interesting watching the media now. There's a report, Callum Borchers, Callum, Callum space Borchers. Weird name, but Callum Borchers at Washington Post has a title in The Fix, which is the sort of opinion blog kind of situation at the Washington Post. And it's Michelle Fields is veering off the high road by dissing Greta Van Susteren. There's this sort of situation going on where Jamie Weinstein and Michelle Fields are melting down their careers. They're freaking out. They're going to all their former contacts like, could you please, come on, please just say this happened. And it's been pretty crazy. Like I've heard from friends at Fox and elsewhere that Jamie's trying to pressure them. I mean, always in like a dumb way, and it's just sort of not working. I mean, we already reported that over about Sean Hannity. But anyway, so this is Greta Van Susteren writes this piece: free legal advice to Michelle Fields. Don't bring a civil lawsuit. All right, so what I shouldn't mention here, and I have forgotten to mention this. Well, I did kind of mention it already. I helped Kendall Coffey, who is Corey Lewandowski's lawyer, one of his lawyers. I think he's currently teaching a course in Russia. He's got 2 lawyers. The other guy's name escapes me at the moment. But helped Kendall Coffey with all the stuff about Michelle Fields, turned over all the evidence that I had about Michelle Fields' history of making things up. And that's really what's going on when the Trump lawyer says that they were going to go in and investigate more stuff. And Greta Van Susteren kind of picking up on what's going on here, because Greta's, despite being a Scientologist, which is kind of a batshit crazy religion, despite being a Scientologist, Greta's also a lawyer, and she's also a pretty reasonable person despite being a Scientologist, which just goes to show you that humans are strange. But Greta Van Susteren wrote this piece, and this is what she says. She says, she is just not going to win, and it will be expensive and a heartache, Van Susteren wrote. Just so we are clear, she added, I am not for assault. I know the court system. And this is what Fields says in response. I think I'll pass on getting legal advice from a Trump shill. Thanks, though. THO, of course, because, she's cool, she's hip, she's with the kids. And Greta Van Susteren replies, this is silly. I relied on years of experience in court system. She relies on name calling. Politico wrote a piece. Van Susteren was basically just doing her job, as this guy Borcher points out. And it's kind of crazy that Michelle Fields, Michelle Fields is kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that she's just like, lashing out at all these people now. I mean, it's really like, come on, girl. Like, it's really kind of pathetic. I guess anything to keep getting attention for herself, but even at a certain point, it's pretty crazy. Now, I happen to think that Rebecca Mansour, it's Mansour, Rebecca Mansour, over at Breitbart. I don't know Rebecca. I know some of the other people over there. At least I don't think I know Rebecca. I may know her. I'm not sure. Anyways, Rebecca has this piece over at Breitbart, which is Greta Van Susteren. Anyone in the media telling Michelle and Jamie Weinstein are free to push whatever policies they want to push. But of course, these guys are anti-Trump. They're here is this sort of like Trump derangement syndrome, where people think that their careers rest on Trump not getting elected. And those of us who are just trying to call these things straight, frankly, it'd be kind of cool if Trump got elected. If Cruz got elected, it would be pretty uncool if any of the kind of globalist candidates, like some of the others recently placed in the general. Mostly I just did that because it seemed like a fun thing to do at the time, and I like the odds. And I do kind of like Ted Cruz. I do find myself kind of like him more. I'm sort of more the nerd than I am the alpha male, billionaire, scion of a wealthy family. Kind of like Cruz's story a bit more than I like Trump's. But I'm not on the Cruz crew, and I'm not on the Trump train. I'm my own man. Life is long. Credibility is important to build over a long lifetime. And you wouldn't respect me if I hoard out to any of these politicians. So in any event, I think it's interesting. So Greta Van Susteren, anyone in the media telling Michelle Fields to prosecute that claim was using her. Any lawyer with ounce of experience knew the DA would not pursue a case against Lewandowski. She is young, and people with no experience encouraged her. Ooh, interesting. What I think is interesting here is she's all but calling out Ben Shapiro. And Ben is an interesting guy. I kind of like Ben because he's so revealing. He's so nakedly ambitious. He's one of these guys who doesn't let the facts get in the way of the story, which I don't like. Ben, of course, famously fucked up the situation with going after Chuck Hagel, who was we were researching Chuck Hagel's involvement with Iran, Chuck Hagel's involvement of getting all these different, all this money going to him over the years. And we were, more or less calling bullshit on what was going on there. And Ben, of course, fucked it all up by saying that Hagel had gotten some money from Friends of Hamas, which is just a bullshit thing. And Ben didn't even have the courage to own up to his fuck up. He insisted that his sourcing was correct, as if there were some organization that would call itself Friends of Hamas or Friends of Al-Qaeda. What a fucking stupid thing to do. But Ben is not always the brightest guy. And so anyways, Ben is running around trying to claim that he's some sort of legal expert. But this guy, this is a guy who's basically lying. And he's going well out of his way to lie to advance his own website, The Daily Wire, which, as we've reported previously, is funded by money from the Wilks brothers, which is a pro-Ted Cruz billionaire group. They're not evangelicals. I think they're some sort of radical Protestant sect. And from all I'm told, nice guys. They were bricklayers who became billionaires. You kind of like to live in a country where that happens. And I even hit them up at one point when I was in a fight with Planned Parenthood over my right to have anonymous sources when it comes to publishing the videos that everyone has seen now from my old friend David DeLayden. Didn't get the videos from David. That was what the Planned Parenthood people were trying to claim. Got them from an anonymous source. And I tried to basically get these billionaires to front the cost of paying my legal defense, but they had other things. They had other interests in mind. This guy John Francis, he's basically their consigliere. What's interesting, by the way, most people don't know this, but each of these billionaires have sort of a consigliere that's their go-to dude. And so anyways, John Francis didn't return my phone calls and didn't get the money, but nonetheless, I think it's important to disclose to you guys that that's what's up. They were busy funding Ben Shapiro's, new site. Not Truth Revolt. Truth Revolt was the other one that he was doing, and Truth Revolt more or less collapsed. So that was awkward. That was an awkward situation for all concerned. Hold on a sec. Oh, that's the address of where I'm supposed to go this weekend in LA. So Truth Revolt more or less failed. It was one of these bullshit things that Ben Shapiro got some money from the Horowitz guys, didn't want to do fundraising. the whole thing imploded. You'll notice, by the way, with Ben and with some of these other people, you'll notice with some of them that I just got a text from my lovely wife. She's awesome. I highly recommend you get your own awesome wife. So yeah. So anyways, so yeah, Ben Shapiro didn't actually do the work. He didn't actually do the work, and so he had like 3 jobs, and he's always hustling to make more money. And he saw this opportunity with Michelle Fields to go and promote his website, which I think is pretty shameful. And I've already written about Ben over at Got News, talking about kind of all my dealings with him. I haven't really talked about him personally yet, other than to say that I think he's just basically a fraud. But I took him to Chinese food one time. We had a good, kosher Chinese food, which is I highly don't recommend eating. It's not very good. But Ben is one of these guys who's like trying to work an angle. He's like one of these wunderkinds who never really grew up, even though he's like in his, I guess, mid-30s now, or early to mid-30s. And Ben, Ben's always working an angle. He wants to be famous. He wants to get attention. And unlike us here at Got News, we want the research to basically speak for itself. We want to build a community as a people, funding research, funding our work, using that money in part to basically build an infrastructure, a missile defense shield, if you will, to shoot down bullshit narratives. And that's what we're kind of about. I mean, that's what we want to do. That's where we're going with this stuff. And so, I don't know, it's interesting to me to watch some of these people who don't seem to really understand that their credibility is being shredded all the time. And if you don't maintain your credibility, if you don't maintain your sense of objectivity, you're going to get screwed at some measure. And so, I don't know, it's important. It's an important thing to note. By the way, on the note of credibility, I should mention there's some dispute as to whether or not Donald Turrentine is actually super Mexican and not just the guy who set it up and occasionally helps him. And we may not still know who super Mexican is. He may still be at large. So if any of you guys want to know who he is, I have some theories as to who he might be, which we can talk about after the fact. My email address is editor@gotnews.com. I've kind of left the page up. I can't really take posts down. I'm not really sure how. But I don't know. I don't really know if it warrants taking the post down. I'm kind of mixed minds about it. Turrentine may not actually be super Mexican. He may just be an ally of super Mexican. Either way, kind of an interesting coincidence. But I feel like I should disclose to you guys that I've had a number of people reach out to me soon saying that super Mexican may in fact actually be Mexican, and they may have met him. I'm not really sure. I think there's a composite going on here of multiple people. Of course, super Mexican could end the whole thing by just exposing himself, making clear what he actually believes and who he actually is. But nonetheless, so this has been a good chat. I've enjoyed this, guys. And if you have any questions, want to hit me up, want to subscribe to my channel, give you some cash. People ask, like, why do you hit up people for cash all the time? Well, partly I do it because, like, I use a lot of the money I get to buy information. And I want to be in a position where I can be like TMZ in like 5-10 years, where whenever there's an interesting situation, I'll be one of the first people that people hit up. And having some cash in the bank to do that is always helpful. Otherwise, and of course it'd be nice to do this stuff full time rather than in the occasional way in which I do it now. But yeah, this is a very interesting moment. Like we're in a moment. Mike Cernovich has talked about this. Others have talked about this. But we're in this inflection point of like where the conversation is going online, and we're in a position where the future is crazy, and I'm just so excited. Like, all of these publications are blowing up all around us. PJ Media, I don't know if you guys know that site. It was run by this guy, or it was owned by this guy, Aubrey Chernick. Aubrey Chernick is a billionaire out of LA. and it's pretty interesting. It's interesting stuff, man. Like I'm very excited to see kind of the next stage here. But let's let us chat soon. I'm looking forward to having more conversations with you guys. In the meantime, come to gotnews.com. By the way, if you're not following, I don't. I like to push stuff that I actually like read and actually support. I like this guy Mike Cernovich. I mean, I don't think Cernovich is right all the time on everything. I think he probably goes a little too hard on things for my taste. Sometimes tortures the evidence a little, but nonetheless, he's a good dude. I think he's like his fight is really in the, he's very interested to see, how this conversation's going, and he's a serious man. I met this guy. He's serious. He's legit. I know Pax Dickinson, and I like him. So yeah, we'll be in touch. Thanks again for listening. I know this one ran over, so forgive me. I don't know. What do you think? Long podcast, short podcast? What are you thinking? Hit me up. Let me know. And yeah, let's be in touch.